Hello. Today I've been airdropped into the Elden Ring DLC. I'm starting at level 1 and have nothing but 4 unupgraded flasks, this club, and I brought Torrent too. I will not be able to return to the lands between for any reason. And we're going to continue until the final boss of the DLC is defeated. This DLC is so much longer than I thought it would be, so, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to chug the jug. Now I normally come into videos with some kind of plan, but today I was going into the DLC completely blind. I don't know where any good weapons are, who the bosses are, or where I should even go. The only thing I knew was that I needed to find a weapon. This DLC expects you to come in at around level 100-ish, so all of the enemies are scaled to around there. At level 1, I was having some difficulty. After around 2 hours or so of wandering around aimlessly, I found a weapon. The backhand blade. Maybe this is all it takes to level the playing field. No. Back to wandering. The next bout of scavenging was a little more fruitful. I found some armor, a talisman for the one talisman slot I will have for this whole run, and the Great Katana, which is a weapon that actually seems pretty good for now, so I level up a little to meet its requirements. I look around this castle for a little while, finding various items as I do so. And after some time, make my way to the first major boss of the DLC, Redon Twin Moon Knight. And yeah, this is not happening right now. Back to vagrancy while I come up with a plan. In my travels, I find a few skidoo tree fragments. There's 50 of these scattered across the DLC. They give you skidoo levels up to a max of 20. Each one of these makes you deal 5% more damage and take 5% less. Needless to say, I want as many of these as I can get. Also, I've been told it's pronounced shadow, but that's a C, so it's going to be called skidoo for this video. And with all the fragments I've found so far, I get to a respectable level 4 out of 20. As I scour the land for more, I happen upon the ruined forge lava intake. Little did I know, this would be one of the most important dungeons I could find, because inside there's plenty of upgrade materials, as well as the Anvil Hammer. This weapon has really high stat requirements, so it must be good. I just need a couple levels to be able to use it. In comes Big Furnace Man. By running near him and triggering this kick attack, he kills all of these guys, and I get a decent amount of runes. It's far from the best rune farm, but it's all I have at this point. After a little while of this, I have enough runes to meet the Anvil Hammer's stat requirements, and then I give it a couple upgrades. Now I know what you're thinking, and the answer is yes, I am single. But also, I said that I was not going to go back to the lands between, and now I'm at the round table. There's no blacksmith in the DLC, and I want to upgrade my weapons. I'm good, but I'm not that good. Returning to the Shadowlands, I meet up with the Blackjail Knight. I died a few times because I pretty much need to beat him without getting hit. Then after a couple deaths I got annoyed and just wandered around for a while. In my travels I find the two-headed turtle talisman, which is a pretty good fit for most fights to go in my singular talisman slot. Back to Blackjail Knight. Once I realized that I don't even really need to look for openings and can kind of just hit him whenever I want, I win. That's one boss down and presumably not that many more to go. Maybe. I'm now faced with a decision. As far as I can tell, I need to fight either Dancing Lion or Renala next to progress. I spent a little time trying both and Well, to be honest, neither of these guys really seem that doable. So I returned to the ruined forge. These blob guys have a chance to drop low-level stones, and this blacksmith drops higher-level stones. I would also like to take this opportunity to say, I don't like this stone person. I don't like the area damage on your attacks, or how hard it is to hit your weak point. Fortunately, landing a hit on his back staggers him, and you can just kind of chain them together forever. Enemy drop rates are not great here, so I was farming for a while. At least it meant I got some runes for the upgrades. As well as some levels that definitely should have went into Vigor, but through divine intervention found their way into Strength. There was nothing I could do. In the end I chose to fight the Dancing Lion because he just seemed a lot more beatable. And this was one of the decisions of all time, alright. But with my new upgrades in hand, I was dealing some real damage. After maybe an hour of attempts, I started to consistently reach the phase 2. But this phase 2 is really hard. It's pretty much just phase 1, but now there's lightning on the ground that can hit and kill me after I dodge an attack. I died to this so many times, and I would love to sit here and tell you how I overcame it, but I didn't. The strategy for this fight is to get to his lightning phase, and then just run away. Once this genius strategy was implemented, the attempts got better and better. Until eventually, at around the 4-hour mark, the Dancing Lion is defeated, one remembrance down. Time to see what cool new area I have unlocked. Nothing. So it looks to me that I do need to fight Rolana, which I was not looking forward to. After only a handful of deaths, I knew I might be in for a long one, so I decided I needed to get every advantage I could get. My anvil hammer, as of now, is only +8. I can get a +9 somber stone from one of these magic giant guys, and an ancient dragonstone drops from one of the many ghost flame dragons littered throughout the DLC. They have the generic dragon moveset we've seen 100 times, but it still took like 20 minutes to beat them. But then I get up to +10, and come back to the fight. This one is way harder than Dancing Lion in my opinion. A strength weapon does not feel like the move here. There's room for one attack sometimes, pretty much never two. Whenever I get a stagger, I can sneak in another hit before I do the critical hit, and then a jump attack as they're getting up. But that's about it. There was a ton of dying in one hit, quite a few deaths without even landing a hit myself. Another issue with this stupid hammer is that it uses a lot of stamina. If I land a hit safely, I have no stamina to roll away sometimes. So I can see my death coming and there's nothing I can do. After probably about 4 hours of this, I can pretty consistently get to phase 2. He goes Pontiff Sylvan mode and has a couple new moves. They're all pretty reasonable, but with openings so small and a pretty low damage output, needing to lock in for as long as I had to was a struggle. I finally beat Rolana. After that fight, the DLC really opens up. I can go anywhere I want now. I can go here, here, or even here. But instead I decide to just walk in a straight line to the next big castle, where I find the Golden Hippo. Looks grey to me, but whatever. The Hippo isn't too bad, just don't ask me how to dodge anything in the second phase. After a couple tries, I got phase 1 down to a science. I knew exactly when he would get staggered, I knew I could get in 2 extra hits after the stagger and before the critical, and another hit when he's getting up. A couple deaths in phase 2 later, and the Golden Hippo is dead. He also drops 2 fragments, which is pretty nice. Then I throw all of the runes into Vigor, because surviving a hit seems pretty nice. I'd like to try it sometime. Exploring the castle, I run past a few short kings, die to some evil rain, and look around at this cool specimen room. If you're still watching at this point, you should subscribe so that I can get a step closer to owning a home with a specimen room this large. I don't find a whole lot of useful stuff here, just a fragment, and a few upgrade materials that I will probably use later. I say probably like I don't know what happens. They get used later. After making like cream and rising to the top, I meet that dude from all the promotional material. And yeah, that ain't happening right now. It must be the Portuguese blood within me, but I felt the need to explore. As I walk through this bony town, I'm accosted by this normal man. Does he just live here? I have no issue imagining all the monsters walking around here, but he's just a guy. Anyway, I soon after find myself in some kind of ice cave. I was here for about 20 minutes, I found some smithing stones, and that's about it. There's a boss at the end, beat him first try. Got some spirit ashes, don't even have the bell, so it's useless. What I need at this point is more skidoo fragments. My weapon is already plus 10, so I need some more levels to improve my damage output. I find one here, one in this little village, one at this cave opening past these pool noodle creatures, another atop a mountain, and then I find myself in the Cerulean coast. This place is really cool. I wander around here for a little, just kind of taking in the vibe. I get another fragment in a cave, and a couple more at a nearby site of grace. Ancient Dragon Man. What a name. Alright, let's check out this cave. Yo, he's back! I died a few times dueling this guy. But this was a fun fight. I also get the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana when I defeat him. Now I can dual wield Great Katanas. Not gonna do it right now, but maybe later. At this point, I'm level 91 heading into the dragon area. I run past these 2 dragons fighting each other, because it's their business and not mine, and I get another fragment. Ancient Dragon Senesex. More like Ancient Dragon... no thank you. And then I get another fragment for another Golden Hippo. That's enough of this area for now. I'll be back later. I'm gonna go check out this top area. I wander around this labyrinth of tunnels for a while, grabbing a couple fragments along the way. I get another cool hammer from this guy, so I can dual wield those if I want to. And I find my way to the boss at the end of the area. At this point I'm Skidoo level 13, and I'm doing pretty reasonable damage to this boss. It's not actually that good, to be honest, but it's not bad. I die plenty of times. But after a while I learn the moves, and I can get posture breaks pretty reliably. This is another boss where you can sneak in an extra hit and jump attack. But I still need to be careful because getting caught in this vortex is just an auto loss.
Huh?
There were a few cases where I wouldn't dodge an attack, but it would still just miss anyway. I'll take it. After some more time, I win. And then I get another remembrance. I use the runes from this fight to get myself up to the magical number of 40 vigor. After that fight, I was feeling good. Another remembrance boss down, and it wasn't too difficult. I also got a few extra Skidoo levels, boosted my vigor, confidence was at an all-time high. I think now it's time to return to the castle and take on Mesmer.
Restrictive to grace of gold channel death. Restrictive to grace of gold channel. Restrictive to grace of gold. Restrictive to grace of gold channel. Restrictive to grace of gold channel. Restrictive to grace of gold channel. Meet death in the embrace of Mesmer's flame.
Okay, maybe not. I'm just gonna go look for some more fragments. I wandered around the castle some more, and quickly found my way to the Commander Gaius fight. This fight was kind of strange. I died quite a few times, and it was probably the better part of an hour before I even saw Phase 2. However, I quickly learned that with this attack, you will miss the second swing and you can get in as many as 3 hits. For this charge attack, you can get out of its range and then just wait for him as you charge up a full heavy attack. But as time went on, I just couldn't get it done. There were too many attacks I just wasn't able to deal with. Somehow I get hit by this? Now that takes me back, alright. And my positioning had to be absolutely perfect to be able to dodge some of them on the horse. But then it hit me. What if I just got off the horse? This little tech works for pretty much every attack. If there's any doubt in my mind whatsoever, I just get off the horse and all my issues disappear. After figuring this out, I beat him in like 5 minutes. Fun boss. There's 5 Skidoo fragments in the area past Gaius, but I stopped recording after beating him and I forgot to turn it back on. My fault. Now I guess there's nothing else to do but to go and fight Mesmer. My damage output's now a little better with the extra fragments, but this fight is still really hard. His opening jump attack is pretty easy to deal with. Anytime he does a straight stab with the spear is generally a pretty safe time to hit as well. There's this long combo. This spear throw that's easy to punish. The grab is very easy to deal with. And that's most of Phase 1. The secret for Phase 2 is... I don't know. I didn't really have to deal with much of Phase 2. Here's how. At 50% HP, there's a cutscene to transition to Phase 2. If the last 1 or 2 hits before that are charged heavy attacks, then you will start Phase 2 very close to staggering. Dodge the snake, charge a heavy attack, hit both the snake and him with the attack for double damage, get a critical hit, and then land another hit as he's getting up, and I was able to pretty consistently start the second phase with him at around 1/6 HP. If I was dual wielding or had a status effect like bleed or frostbite, then it's very possible that I could just skip the second phase completely. Which would have been nice because I am not good at this phase 2. There's a bunch of snakes that are tough to dodge, and like, it's a whole thing. The best advice I have is to wait for this charge, roll with it so you end up near him and can hit him, then just try and hit him on anything else you recognize from phase 1. After a while I beat him, and that was probably the best boss fight of the DLC so far. Next on the list is Bale. The path to him is pretty much already open, so I just walk there. And I do summon for this one because...
Curse you, Bale! I hereby vow you will rue this day!
he seems very interested in joining me for this one. With a summon, his first phase is pretty easy, after you learn that this grab attack is lightning quick, of course. But this fight is really hard, because his HP pool is huge, and one mistake can just one-shot you from full health. So even if I master phase 1, just getting to the second phase still takes a long time. Also, whatever happened to cutting off dragons' tails and getting cool items for it? That mechanic was cool as hell. There's a few attacks I struggled with. This one was pretty hard. If I ever tried to get aggressive and hit him in the head for more damage, I was at high risk of dying to this one. Also, if you're wondering where Egon the summon is during most of this footage, so am I. He wasn't nearly as helpful in phase 2 as I wanted him to be. But in the end I was bailed out of having to do the last 10% or so by a lucky posture break.
Bale the Dread, you shall haunt me no longer.
Yeah, that pretty much encapsulates my thoughts too. Okay, now we're gonna speed through a couple of these remaining Remembrance bosses. Next is the Putrescent Knight. He took a few tries because he has a bit of an awkward moveset. I also did not appreciate having to fall for 10 seconds between every try. I feel like I should have come here a lot sooner because one hit is doing crazy amounts of damage. But in the end, not too soon after arriving, I managed to do what I couldn't quite do on Mesmer and completely skip the second phase with a well-timed posture break. Cool boss. Next, I've run through a dungeon. Then through the Abyssal Woods, and end up at the Midra fight. This guy looks familiar. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Never mind, it's probably nothing. After a few ill-fated attempts, I get the feeling that he might be weak to bleed. So I kill another Ghost Flame Dragon, and upgrade my Dragon Katana so that I can dual wield 2 bleed weapons. It works pretty well. This boss has fairly simple and predictable combos, just gotta watch out for a few of the quick flame attacks, and any of the wacky explosions in phase 2. After learning how to deal with some of his crazier moves, I beat him, even got a bleed off on the killing blow. Very cool boss. Would have liked if he was a little more high energy in the second phase though. Next, Evil Sunflower. The gimmick here is that you need to kill him 3 times, and each time you kill him, he comes back with new moves. Cool idea, but like... And then his phase 2 was a little more interesting. But then in phase 3 he does this big explosion that you can just block and then do all of his health while he recovers. And then he just dies. A lot of people will probably say this boss sucks, but I had a nice time fighting him, and that's all that matters. The penultimate boss for this run requires me to blow these two finger horn things. Then this chair opens. And there's a weird finger monster in the basement. He's got some pretty fast attacks, but for the most part he's pretty manageable. He's also vulnerable to bleed and doesn't have a crazy amount of health. Just be wary of the explosions. And sometimes he summons these baby hand people, and they can just swarm you out of nowhere. This must be how Julius Caesar felt. Then I beat him shortly after. That was a pretty fun boss, I had a good time. We're in the end game now. Done skipping over things. Except this big area at the end. But now, we are really done skipping over things. It's time for the main event. Now here's my controversial opinion. This fight is really hard. I said it. Go ahead and cancel me. I tried a couple times, but it didn't go too well. Didn't even hit him on this one. Early on, I anticipated that this one could take a very long time, so I chose to go and get all the remaining Skidoo tree fragments and max out my Skidoo level. I missed a couple of golden hippos in a lake, one in the abyssal woods, and these combined brought me up to Skidoo tree level 19 with 2 fragments left over. There's 50 of these in the DLC, and I have found 49. I do not know where the last one is. Guess we're just doing this one at level 19. This fight also took me the longest and was easily the most difficult in the entire DLC. Definitely the hardest in all of Elden Ring as well. I don't know about hardest FromSoft boss ever, but top 5 for sure, probably top 3, maybe top 1. Debate it in the comments. Anyway, I was here for hours. It was probably 4 hours before I even saw that there was a phase 2. That doesn't even happen halfway, that happens at around 60%. I tried with the hammer. I tried with the katanas. Neither really seemed good at all, to be honest. If this was my damage output on any other boss, I would have left and came back later. So I needed a way to boost my damage output. I still had this hammer from earlier. So I upgraded it and headed back in. Now this damage output is... it's alright. It's not that good, but it's definitely better. It's usable. Now, to talk about the actual fight. Redon Master class time. 90% of the time, he leads with his purple jump attack. Just roll and hit him. There's this cross slash. Easy dodge. My weapons are too slow to get a hit in. Maybe it could if you're using like a katana or daggers or something. 3-hit combo, starting with his overhead chop. Easy dodges. This stomp, this is the one you want. Every time you see this attack, you should be licking your lips. You're about to do 5% of the boss's health. Just roll all these. Roll behind him at the end to avoid the ground blast thing, and get in as much damage as you can. This vortex attack. Just roll. If you're near him after it, even if you didn't get hit by the vortex, he does a special attack that's really bad. You don't want that. This jump attack. You can get a hit in, but sometimes he does a second jump and you can get caught out. If you're not using colossal hammers, it's probably safe to hit him and you'll be able to roll the second jump, but that's not the situation I found myself in. But there's never a third jump, so if he does the second one, free damage. Jump in the air move. Looks scary, just run left or right and you'll be fine. Stab attack. He does a stab, waves his sword and makes him fire, explodes. Just roll behind him to make sure you avoid the explosion. 2 slashes, cute little twirl, and big double sword slash. Easy damage at the end. Charge up double slash into overhead double slash. This one's pretty slow and it's pretty easy to hit him after. I know I missed in this clip, but I'm not perfect, but I'll always be real. Remember that. Tupac said that. Maybe. And lastly, dual slash attack. I got nothing. You roll too early, you get hit. Roll too late, you get hit. I don't have a solution for it. Some people bring a shield, or I think there's a tier some people are using. My strategy was just to get hit. I'm recording the voiceover before any editing, so I'm gonna say with hope in my heart that this was recorded pre-patch, and this has since been fixed, because this attack does not feel right. Hopefully it's true. He changes phases at 60% rather than 50. That can be pretty tough to eyeball. So I used a technique that was revealed to me in ancient Chinese scrolls. I got my nearest Yu-Gi-Oh card, and I put it up against my monitor. Whenever his health started approaching the card, I knew I needed to start landing heavy attacks. After a very long time, I managed to get past phase 1, taking minimal damage on a semi-consistent basis. On to phase 2. In phase 2, there is no masterclass. Hope is lost. Phase 2 is a lawless wasteland as far as I'm concerned. This must be how the balloons feel, dude. That being said, I have a few general tips. In phase 2, he normally opens with this T-pose move. He rises up and there's a massive explosion. You can run away to dodge it, but I devised my own strategy, the same one we did for Mesmer. End phase 1 with power attacks so you can stagger him at the beginning of phase 2, and then just land the critical before the bomb goes off. Easy. For the rest of the fight, all I really have is to roll straight into him at all times to avoid the wholly damaged things around him. There's this grab, that's easy damage. This stomp combo is the same from phase 1, except there's an explosion at the end. This after image attack, I got no idea, never dodged it once. I just got hit by the first 4 and then dodged the 5th. They don't do that much damage, so it's fine. But in the end, after probably like 8, maybe 10 hours, I finally get him. I get the posture break, and I have time for a one-liner as I land the killing blow. Welcome to Earth. And with that, the DLC is finished. Overall, I'd say it was pretty good. See ya.